It's time again for Shasta College football. It's nighttime. All right, welcome to Nighttime, Shasta County Sports Weekly podcast with Coach Brian Hamilton. Not the way you wanted to start off the season, Coach, but it's nowhere to go from up. Nowhere to go here from up, right?
Yeah. It's football. We knew we were bringing in the number 18 ranked team into our stadium. We knew we were going to get a good football game, and for a little over 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters, so we played good football. At least competitive. We had the lead 28-27. So, there's some things we can look on the film and performances by individuals and groups of guys on the team that were, where we were not sure. New freshmen that were on the field, offensive line being one of them, quarterback and things like that, where we had some really good performances to where we can build upon that. I believe that we have good people on defense. I think we got caught a little bit with some first game mistakes that really hurt us with the team that capitalized, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but by extending plays and making some things happen. And obviously we want to win every football game, but like I told our group, I told our coaches, and I told our players, I would be really worried, if we played our best game and lost. If we didn't have anything to improve on and just got beat, I would be very, worried. However, there's so much to improve on, and so much stuff we can do better. And we were still very competitive and had the lead for the majority of the game against the number 18 team. I think there's some positives we can take away.
Yeah, it's kind of the good news, bad news scenario. The good news is that you scored 28 points with a brand new quarterback, a new line. Bad news is you gave up 19 unanswered to end the game. Let's focus on the offense first, because I thought, Gabe Curtis comes in and shows a pretty good command of that offense. I know Gavin Dobson came in and threw the first touchdown pass, but Curtis looked good in there. He looked sharp, and I know you talked about they both see times, but was it a case of just riding that hot hand in a close game?
Yeah, both those guys offer a little different style of play, and the style that we felt was effective, and then going into the game and then proved to be effective was more Gabe's style, which is a mobile quarterback using the quarterback in a running back spot and quarterback, a dual threat guy. Gavin's more of a pocket guy. So once we got into the game and we're moving the ball consistently, being efficient, scoring touchdowns, I don't think we punted until late in the third. It's hard to make that switch at that point. And I thought Gabe, he's a dynamic quarterback, and he'll get the start again this week too. I think he's got a chance to be a very special football player for us. And Gav is a great guy to have there ready to go if something happens or if we need a change of pace.
One of the things that TJ and I were talking about as the game was going on was, you come in with a pretty much a new offensive line. You've got a new quarterback who does provide that run threat, the fly sweep, the fake fly sweep, the dives, the quarterback option. Those were all really effective, but what really was a nice wrinkle to all of that was Gabe's ability to find guys downfield, specifically Tyler Carey for a couple of scores.
Yeah, at this level you better be well-rounded, and I felt really good about most of our offensive production. We only had 40 snaps or something like that, ridiculously low amount. They had the ball the entire game, but we maximized what we did have when we did have the ball late in the game when we were chasing, got us out of our game plan a little bit. But when we were able to go in and be within our game plan and stuff, I was really happy with the the multifaceted approach that we were able to be, in my opinion, pretty effective in. And our running backs, although they didn't get as many carries, but when they did get the ball, they were good. Our sweepers, I felt, were good. I felt our wide receivers, for the most part, played pretty well. Tyler Carey had a big game, and just to kind of touch on what you had just mentioned, I felt Gabe Curtis did a very good job of finding people downfield and putting accurate throws on them. And first game for a freshman, and as you saw, the offense that we're running, kind of some of the stuff I did years ago, and we're kind of just building upon that, and that's what we're going to do. It requires a lot of timing and things, and so a lot of things can go wrong early. It takes a while to build that, and I didn't see that. I saw a great production. I saw very well executed plays, and I saw us get the ability to isolate some receivers on DBs, good DBs from Reedley, and be effective in a vertical passing game. And that as a coach makes me excited about the future and excited about where I think this offense, as it matures, can go.
Yeah, and I thought the run game with the fly sweep was particularly effective. The big fellas up front were blocking. A couple of times Eli Cortinas just laid somebody out on one of those sweeps, and you got to love that out of your offensive line and your running backs, the ability to open up holes like that.
For sure. That offensive line, I thought, and I'm pretty critical when I watch film. I thought for 4 freshmen and a sophomore played really, really well. They're big, they're quick, they did a very nice job against a good front. And I think they'll get better as we go. One thing about the sweep, I know as more teams get more tape on us, they're going to take away some of that stuff. They're going to really work on taking away some of that stuff. But in our opinion, in my opinion, and coaching that type of offense for many years, is that's okay, because now we're dictating coverage, we're dictating kind of how the defense is going to play, instead of letting them just sit back and play what they want, by us being able to be motion oriented and be able to attack different parts of the field that feel like we get to dictate to where the defense is going to be on the field. And I'm excited about it. I think you got to do it every week, and you got to get better every week. But step one, for the most part, for the most of the evening, was pretty effective.
Yeah, because you take away the fly sweep, and that dive's open, or the quarterback reads open, or something on the backside's open, right? It opens up a number of facets for you.
And it's game one, So this is a young team, and we need to win this week, obviously, and we need to get into some momentum going into conference in a few weeks. But I think if we stay healthy and we continue to grow, and we have a first-year offensive coordinator, Dan Lewis, we have a first-year quarterback, Gabe Curtis, we have first-year running back in Eli Cortinas, we have a new offense and a young offensive line, and to go out against what I felt was a very physical and well-coached defense, and be effective is encouraging.
You mentioned not punting until the third quarter, and that was something as the game progressed that TJ and I were talking about. It's like, all right, you weren't stopping them on third down. They weren't stopping you on third down either. And it seemed like whoever was going to flinch was going to get that upper edge. Flipping it over to the defense, I think the stat that stands out is Reedley converting 13 of 16 third down conversions. And we talked before we came on here that you could go against air, and that would be an unlikely outcome that you'd get that high of a percentage. First game jitters, just out of position, or was it a good Reedley team that you kind of ran into and ran out of gas? Or
I think that first of all, let's give some credit to Reedley. I think Reedley College did a really nice job of attacking us and extending plays, making plays on third down. So some of our failure wasn't failure; it was their success. That being said, I do believe that we did some things. That hurt us. We were not very disciplined in third down penalties. I think we only had 8 penalties in the game, but I think 6 of those were on third downs and third down conversions, and you just can't do that. And then breakdown in coverages, breakdown in containment. We did some things that really hurt us when the game was in the balance. And then when you were talking about flinching, we did turn the ball over. They made a nice interception on a scramble that Gabe had. His really only mistake of the night. And then later in the game, Gavin, our other quarterback, and Holden Gilbert had a mesh issue, put the ball after gaining some momentum, recovering a fumble, and that really hurt us too. So we did flinch at the end. We're the ones that didn't flinch it, and really took advantage of it. But I think defensively, I would be really concerned if we gave up 47 and we played a good game. We were in the right spots. We didn't commit penalties and stuff. We just couldn't stop anybody. On film, that wasn't the case. Not to take anything away from Reedley, because they do a good job, and they did a nice job on the road. But I feel like there's so much room for improvement. I feel like we have the bodies to improve, and so that's encouraging. We just got to do it.
And I didn't look specifically. I just remember seeing it as it progressed. It looked like a lot of times on third down they were behind the chains, and like you said, either kind of the self-discipline, the penalties, or Muganya or whoever the quarterback was getting out of containment and extending that play.
Yeah.
You know, how do you go about solving that from week to week?
Well, I mean, just to touch on that, and then I'll answer that question. You know, there's a series in there where I think we're up 7 or 6 or 7, and they've got 3rd down and 12, I believe, from the 7-yard line coming out. So they're at their own 7. We're 3rd down and long. We can get after them, get the ball back, maybe get a 2-touchdown lead on them, and they complete we blow a coverage. They complete a wide open pass, and then on top of that, we face mask them on the tackle. And that play, instead of, you know, putting their punt team out of the end zone, if we do our job on 3rd down, all of a sudden there's a 42-yard switch in field position. Actually, it's 48-yard.
I remember
switch.
that series exactly.
Yeah, it's
yes.
48-yard switch in field position, and then they go down and score on that drive. So that was those mistakes. You know, if you're going to be a good football team in the level, we're playing at the highest level of 3CAA, and we're playing ranked teams. And if you're going to play at that level, and that's obviously the type of team we are as well, you cannot do those things. We know it as a staff. Our players know it. We've preached it all week this week. I've won a lot of football games. I've lost a lot of football games. But the one area that I will not fluctuate on is my attention to, you know, being disciplined. And so when we're not disciplined, and when it costs us ball games or costs us drives or costs us points, you can rest assured that I've echoed that, I've beat that drum, and I'm going to make sure that my staff, myself, and our team know at least that it won't be tolerated. So we'll see this week if it plays out where we've corrected some of those things. As far as contain goes, you know, we just got to do a better job at the edges. We're working on that. I think that's something we have to do. He did a nice job on film too. Sometimes the quarterback's just more athletic than that D end. I mean, and you can contain him, but it's still one guy on one guy. So you know, he did a nice job, and coverage-wise, we've got good defensive backs. We absolutely do, but they won't. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are if you're not in the right spot. So we're working on cleaning that up as well.
Last thing of last week before we jump ahead. Your kick return game with Williams was dynamite. There was a couple times he busted off a couple 40, couple 55-yard kick returns. That's got to be a big plus.
Well, you know, special teams was a point of emphasis for us this year because I felt like last year we were very poor in that area. You can't be poor in any 3 phases, and in special teams especially, because it's an area I feel like we can win. And so to see that production on the field, Coach Thompson's our special teams coordinator, has put a lot of time into it. We've got the right guys on the field. Unfortunately, CJ can't play this week, unless, as of now, he's not going to be able to make the trip due to an incident in the game where one player was ejected, but they messed the number up, and the player they ejected was the wrong player. And on film, they determined that, and I'm not going to get myself fined here or anything, but they determined that a push to the face mask was instigated a response by the other team, so both players have been ejected. So if that holds, CJ won't be here for this game and next game, which hurts us in the defensive back, but hurts us in the return game too. That being said, we can only control what we control, and so we'll have somebody else back there, and we expect that production out of them as well. But special teams did a very nice job, and that's an area where I think we've got to continue to improve and do well on, and I was very pleasantly pleased with our production there. You go down your first rodeo of the year down in Stockton. Thankfully, it won't be like it is right now as we're recording on Wednesday. Brutally hot. I know you guys are doing stuff to practice. We practiced at 5:15 a.m. And I'll tell you something, man. As a coach, especially this week, we're focused on being on time, being disciplined, being here. You tell guys they got to be at practice at 5:15. That means we're in the locker room at 4:40. That means the alarm's going off at 4. Okay, so you're setting yourself up for some issues as a head coach there. But I'll tell you what, our kids showed up today, and we're going to do it tomorrow. And we had a great practice. They were energized. We were done by 8 in the morning. That's nice. And so I tell you what, nobody was late, nobody missed. Everybody we had probably one of our better practices. So I'm feeling good about that.
how do you prepare then for that first road trip? It's going to be a 1:00 start down in Stockton against San Joaquin Delta. How do you prepare for that? Just mentally to get those guys ready to play on the road.
Well, one of the things we did this year, and I did it on purpose. Everything we do is purpose oriented. Was schedule a preseason road trip to Southern Oregon University. So we had to board buses, we had to eat, we had to warm up on the road, we had to play for your university, and so we had to do all the things we're going to have to do Saturday. So I felt good about that. We were fine there. So I expect the same thing. We're going to leave early. We're not going to spend the night. We got a 1:00 kickoff. So we'll get here on the campus, we'll eat breakfast and together, and then we'll get on the road about 6:45 and get down there at whatever that would be, 10:30, and be on the field at 1. And it's going to be in the 90s down there. Last I checked, which is almost a winter day for Reading now. So I no excuses. We got to win on the road. If you're going to be a good football team, you got to win on the road. And I have no doubt that we're going to show up and play a good football game.
So there's a method to your madness. The early morning practices are getting your body clock ready for that Saturday.
That's true too. I mean, you've got to be able to overcome some things. And we had home field advantage this weekend. And Reedley came here on a Friday, spent the night, hung out all day Saturday, showed up at the ballpark to play a 6:00 kickoff, and they did their job. Right, and then they had to drive home all the way down to Fresno area after that game and get ready for this week. So that's just the life of this level of football, and any level of football, really. You got to get on the road and play ball. So we're looking forward to it. Delta's coming off a win versus Contra Costa, so they're 1-0. I'm sure they're excited about that. And we got to go down there and take care of business.
All right. Shasta County Sports will not be on the air for that road game, but we will be back on the air on the 17th for Diablo Valley. Coach, appreciate it, and good luck this week.
Appreciate you guys, and thank you, and look forward to talking to you, hopefully getting back on the win track next week.
You've been listening to Nighttime with Brian Hamilton. I'm Aaron Williams for Shasta County Sports. Nighttime is a Shasta County Sports production brought to you by Shasta Orthopedics.